This young man is named Lito. He has just jumped from the notorious gangster known as Para. 20 kilos of flour to make cakes. That amount of drugs can make half of the city's people fly up to 9 clouds and not come down. So Lito decided to destroy it all. At that moment, the giant K2 came to find Lito in the building where he was. His 2 henchmen used hot merchandise to stop K2's head. However, he was not afraid but instead boldly said, "Do you know who your father is? I will smash your grandfather's skull too." "Oh really?" He quickly subdued and broke the necks of Lito's 2 henchmen. Then, along with the gang as large as an army, he went up to find him to retrieve the goods as ordered by the boss. He is a brutal person, treating human life as garbage. Lito heard the gunshots and knew something was wrong, so he quickly sent the flour on a trip to a distant place. Both he and the gang found their way to his room. By now Lito was also finished. He rushed out but was quickly transferred to the Inferno Hotel. However, the boss wanted him alive, so K2 did not allow his men to use guns. Lito suddenly rushed out with great power. The high-level parkour moves helped him quickly escape outside. His body moved lightly like the wind. Flying from this building to another was just a small matter for him. From top to bottom in the blink of an eye, the K2's henchmen chasing after him were no different from being chased by death. He climbs the stairs faster than people take the elevator. His strong muscles help him move like flowing water. The hooligans also followed Lito, but it was strange. Maybe after this incident, they would have to go to Vietnam to buy joint medicine to continue their gangster life. Or they should just stay at home and livestream being a tough guy, or else, for fun, he would leave them with no teeth to eat porridge. Finally, Lito smoothly climbed up the emergency ladder and climbed to the top floor, bidding them goodbye with a leap over the city from above. The hooligans knew their parkour skills were just village pawns, while Lito's skills were of a higher level, so they had to watch him run away in silence. K2 brought along 12 subordinates and put in a lot of effort but only managed to bring back next to nothing. Their faces were cut without a drop of blood left, and they didn't know how to explain this to the boss. Boss Para was furious for losing €1,000,000 for the drugs recently and extremely angry with the useless gang, so he immediately rewarded each of them with a hot bullet right on the spot. The giant K2 quickly used his big belly and his small brain to salvage the situation. He said Lito has a sister named Lola. We can corner her to lure Lito into a trap. The boss gave him another chance. If he messed up again, he would chop his body and feed it to the dogs. K2 immediately led his men to the supermarket where Lola worked. He brazenly abducted her in broad daylight, and everyone around saw it as a normal occurrence. Even the police stood motionless, pretending not to see, as they didn't want to get involved with the underworld. K2 took the girl to the organization's hideout, heavily guarded from inside to outside. Even a fly would find it hard to escape. They arrogantly processed various types of crystal meth here without fear of any interference. The deeper they went, the more they realized how many assassins Para was nurturing, and Lola was no ordinary girl either. When a bald guy with many hairs intended to assault her, she immediately made him taste the 5-finger technique and ran off to find her mother. K2 brought her to the boss, who was cooking, and ordered his men to inform Lito to come and visit. Just as they were secretly celebrating catching this opportunity to roast Lito, he unexpectedly descended from the sky like a god, stabbing his knife into his neck. He had already figured out their plan and acted first. Seeing his ancestors waving him down to the golden stream, Para obediently let Lito keep him as a hostage. With Para in hand, the two brothers Lito calmly walked out, ignoring the hundreds of guns pointed at them. Encountering the perverted bald guy from earlier, Lola immediately took off her panties and showed him what authentic shrimp paste was. Successfully escaping outside, Lito brought Para straight to the police station, despite the bullets raining down on the car like a storm. Lito chained Para and ran straight into the inspector's office, along with 5 kilograms of opium as evidence. However, Para's men quickly surrounded the place. The inspector feared they would flatten the station and made a decision to go underground to arrest Lito instead of Para. Originally, the police were supposed to protect the people, but they were now aiding the villains in their rampage. Even more despicable was that the police let Para openly snatch back the crystal meth and take the girl Lola. Lito was extremely bitter about this extremely rotten society. "I'm sorry I couldn't take action against them. Tonight is my retirement day and I will leave here." "No, today will be your Memorial Day," he said, and then he let him go to meet his ancestors. Time flies like a dog running in the field. Lito has been herding ants in prison for 6 years. Every day, he still exercises to keep fit, hoping for the day he can get out to rescue his sister. Indeed, life is not like life. Those who stand for justice have to sit in prison. Meanwhile, Para and his gang are still rampant on the outside. He turned her into an addict and treated her no differently than a pet at home to vent his anger. Lately, he has expanded his territory to other cities. A bulletproof truck fell into their sights. He sent sent 2 kids to smear soap on the windows to blind the driver. Then, they planted a time bomb to blow up the door of the truck, and the masked duo successfully rushed out, hijacked the truck, and drove it back to their base. Para and his gang eagerly opened it to see the spoils after the robbery, not realizing it was a time bomb. Para accidentally triggered it, and within 24 hours, Zone 13 would turn to ashes. This bomb was part of a military nuclear project, and the news that the stolen bomb was in Zone 13 and had been activated reached the Minister of Defense. The minister quickly sought out a senior agent named Damien, who had the ability to wrest the bomb from the hands of the robbers to save the 2 million people in Zone 13. At this time, the police officer was performing an undercover mission within a criminal organization, specializing in organizing large-scale gambling and money laundering activities. After monitoring the cameras, they quickly discovered the police were closing in. The bearded guy immediately suspected there was a mole within the organization. He took out his gun and sent one of them to meet his ancestors, believing he was the traitor. It was only then that Damien revealed himself. The boss didn't expect that with his baldness, he would be tricked by someone even balder. Damien captured the boss, then threatened the gang to leave. He closed the door and coordinated with the police above, successfully taking the boss to the detention center. However, he waited in vain for his colleagues above to lower the rope to rescue him. Damien had to rely on his bare hands to break through the encirclement. He used to be a martial artist, so these criminals were just small fry to him. Quickly subduing them one by one, Damien rushed out to escape. However, they were still too numerous and ferocious, and the bullets were well directed, so they shot volley after volley towards him. With his lightning-fast speed, Damien gracefully dodged the deadly bullets. No matter how many of them there were, they didn't know they were facing a super agent. Before the black man could even load his gun, Damien had sent him to rest in peace. As a sharpshooter, he didn't waste a single bullet, causing them to fall flat on their faces. After taking care of everything, not a single person was left. My teammates were also there to help. They were truly good teammates. Returning after successfully completing the mission, the Minister of Defense was waiting and assigned him a new mission. He said he only had 23 hours left to destroy the bomb to save the situation. Time is too urgent. Area 13 is where there is more gunpowder than medicine, so it will be very difficult to break in and destroy the robber's lair. Damien's boss had already anticipated this. He arranged for him a great partner, Leto, who was in prison. Because Area B13 is Leto's territory, he is number 2, so no one on Sunday can know the every corner of this place. Furthermore, Leto's sister Lola is in Para's hands. However, he is very prejudiced against the police, so there will be no spring where he will cooperate with the police. Damien had to make up his own mind. He pretended to be a prisoner who was brutally beaten by the police, then was arranged to ride in the same car with Leto to a new prison. To gain Leto's trust, Damien said he was arrested for killing Para's man in a business deal, and now he would run away to settle accounts with him. As soon as he finished speaking, Damien easily broke the door and rushed forward to steal the car. The 2 policemen were quickly thrown upside down on the street. The 2 shook hands and went to Area 13 to deal with Boss Para. Arriving at the gate, Damien accelerated and drove straight inside, despite the police trying to block the way. Suddenly, without saying a word, Leto gave Damien a number 8 jewelry bracelet attached to the steering wheel. It turns out that Leto knew Damien was an undercover police officer and was just trying to take advantage of him. He said he would save his sister himself without Damien's help. Leto rushed into the old battlefield alone. Damien was bitterly outside, and before he could undo the handcuffs, uninvited guests arrived. In this place called Special Area 13, good and bad are mixed, smiling like a friendly queen but wanting to stick copper candy into Damien's brain. However, they have no chance with a number 1 agent like you. Even though his hands were still attached to the steering wheel, it became an effective weapon for Damien. Controlling a handsome white young man as a hostage, Damien successfully passed the first hurdle. Although not familiar with the terrain, Damien, with a sharper sense than a dog's, immediately heard and found Leto, returning the recently stolen jewelry to him. Damien asked why Leto recognized him as a cop. Leto said it was because of his fighting style. Just by observing, he could tell Damien was a spy. At this moment, Damien revealed the truth, admitting that he had lied only to disarm the bomb in Para's hands. It was preparing for the city to return to the Stone Age. Leto's good heart awakened, and the 2 shook hands in reconciliation. Damien wanted Leto to guide him to Para's room. He would then quietly break in, defuse the bomb, and rescue Leto's sister, Lola. However, Leto directly called the boss Para on the phone. He told him to quickly bring a sedan with 9 people to carry him and another spy. There would be a negotiation about the bomb. Damien didn't want that. He wanted to quietly infiltrate, not reveal himself like this. However, Leto did it because he understood Para well. He would be curious about the negotiation and wouldn't kill the 2. As Leto predicted, K2 and his gang immediately appeared. The 2 swaggered to the base to meet Para without any effort. They didn't know that in an hour, there wouldn't be a chance for drugs, even just once, when the bomb exploded. Meeting Para, Damien said that only he knew the code to disarm the bomb. Otherwise, both he and 2 million people would become model citizens in hell. However, Para said he didn't care. It turned out that Para had prepared a launch pad and had Leto's sister chained there. He could launch the bomb to destroy any city he wanted. Moreover, Para released a giant assassin from the prison to guard the bomb. He wanted to sell the bomb to to Damien, who reluctantly agreed to pay $1 million, but then he raised the price to $20 million. A huge amount, but with no other choice, Damien had to call his superior to transfer the money. However, his superior said he had no money. The poor had to find a way to overcome difficulties. Damien took a gamble, pretending he had successfully transferred the money. Para had someone check the account and found that the bank would not be open for another half an hour, giving them lucky time to delay. Leto knew that not acting quickly would be more disadvantageous. A stunning Santo kick in the air spun 360 degrees beautifully, and the two quickly went into the restroom. With their superb parkour skills, Leto climbed onto the roof and then plunged down, breaking the toilet bowl, creating an escape route to the lower floor. K2 and the gang, even with a rain of bullets, couldn't stop the two's footsteps. Upon hearing that Leto and Damien had escaped, Para, furious, immediately ordered one of his henchmen to be punished for his failure. At that moment, the advisor reported that not only had the government not transferred the money to buy the bomb, but all of Para's bank accounts had been frozen. Para was left empty-handed, and in District 13, there was only money and violence, no compassion. With no money in his pocket, it meant that the wages of his men were also gone. The rebels, long resentful of Para's actions, took this opportunity to fire at Para's men like a swarm of bees. K2, the most influential figure, openly became the new boss of the gang. Unlike Para, K2 was smart. He didn't want to risk dealing with this death bomb business and immediately sent someone to find Damien and Leto. Using his expertise, Leto quickly climbed the buildings for escape, moving with incredible agility. Even steep slopes became flat under his feet. Damien, unfamiliar with the terrain, had to join the marathon race to win the District 13 Golden Incense Cup. However, it was said that getting in was easy, but getting out was even harder than escaping from prison. Even the military was helpless here. The two were fast, but they were still surrounded, expecting that they would be given the same fate. Unexpectedly, K2 supported the two in defusing the bomb. Damien couldn't understand and asked, "If you don't chase, will we run away?" Leto replied, "If you don't run, we'll definitely be chased." With only 9 minutes left, Leto and Damien ran straight up the stairs. Here, they had to face a giant fighter, almost 300 pounds, standing like a statue. This was the gift Para used to protect the bomb before. In a fit of excitement, Damien rushed at him, but he wasn't a match. The giant knocked Damien from the shore to the field. It was then Leto's turn. He didn't take risks like Damien but used an electrical cable nearby, combined with the agility that his highly trained body had achieved. In just a minute, he turned the giant fighter into a pair of beef shins unable to move. Finally, with a magnificent explosion, Damien sent him off the earth. At the same time, upstairs, Lola, Leto's sister, didn't want her brother to sacrifice his life to save her. She used her foot to topple the gasoline can and then used a match to end her life. Luckily, when she lit it near the ground station, Leto arrived in time. There were only 3 minutes left until the bomb exploded. Damien called his superior to ask for the deactivation code. He looked puzzled and said the code was 9293B13. With the code in hand, Damien wanted to defuse the bomb immediately and entered the code. However, Leto felt something was off. 9293B13 was the postal network of this place. He said if the military didn't intend to bring the bomb here, why would the code be the postal network of B13? Wasn't this not a bomb defusing command but more like an explosion command? The minister sent Damien here to keep the bomb exactly where it was. However, Damien insisted that the code was just a coincidence. The two engaged in a fierce battle. Though Leto's close combat skills were not as good as Damien's, he was not an easy opponent. But he couldn't stop the footsteps of a seasoned agent like Damien. In the final moments before Damien entered the B13 code, Lola managed to rise and stop him, fully trusting her brother's decision. All three watched the countdown clock ticking, and in the end, the bomb didn't explode. Damien was mixed with emotions, realizing that he had been deceived by his superiors. The three carried the bomb downstairs. K2 played it smart, letting the three leave without making it difficult for them. Leto and Damien brought the bomb to their superior, who, threatened by the two, had to speak the truth. The government didn't want to waste money and effort on District B13. They wanted to use this bomb to balance the area for a cleaner society. What's more, the explosion could be blamed on the underworld. Just as the dirty confessions were recorded by a journalist through the window and broadcast live on television for the whole country to see, this was Damien's prearranged plan. At the end of the movie, the two had to part ways. Leto received a large sum of money but decided to return to District B-13 to live. Damien said the 2 million people in District B13 needed a hero like him, or rather, what they needed were schools, hospitals, and police stations. Leto said he would always stand by the people. And that's the end of today's movie. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, watch, and subscribe to support us. Thank you, everyone.